Hello everyone, Battle Droid Bricks here, with my newest mock of the Inquisitor Estaminet that I entered into TD Bricks mock contest. Now, this mock is basically a bar for the Inquisitors, but I called it an Estaminet because Estaminet is the French word for bar, and I didn't want to call it the Inquisitor bar, because that's a little boring. But one of my favorite features about this mock is the movement I've incorporated into it. So when I lift this top panel off the roof and tap the power button, you will see that the bar moves to deliver drinks to people, and the Inquisitor lightsaber on the back wall spins just like it does in actual Star Wars. The details I'd like to point out about this mock is the lion head. Now this lion head came in an old Chima set, and I just thought it looked good as a nice bar decoration along with a couple weapons on either side of it. And another detail I'd like to point out is that there is a karaoke stage with two people singing and two speakers in the back, one on the right and one on the left. And then up here we have a ping pong table that looks really awesome in my opinion. So this ping pong table is entirely snot on the top and the bottom, and it has 4 legs that will clip in right there. But one of the best features about this is that I'm using this piece that came in a mystery minifigure pack of Green Lantern, and I'm using that to give the illusion that the ping pong ball is bouncing on the table. And then you just push it back in and it stays right in place. And then another detail is that I included a fighting arena in this Inquisitor Estaminet. So in this fighting arena, I'm using this piece that's the same piece I used to make the ping pong ball bounce. And it's giving the illusion that this Inquisitor is lunging at this big fig Inquisitor I made. Now, I will talk about the characters in depth later, but this big fig is one of my favorite characters because I made his arm completely posable so it can move in all directions. Now, the main thing I'd like to discuss with you is the bar section of this Estaminet. Now, to turn it on, you pull this top piece off, as I showed you before, and tap the power button. And you can see that the bar will move to deliver drinks to people and the lightsaber spins. Now, some details I have in this interior bar section is this drink machine that when you pull the lever up, it will dispense the drink. As you can see, it's dispensing a drink into that cup, but not that cup. And over on the right side, you'll see that I have a shelf. There's a bunch of different beer bottles and a bunch of other types of beer. And then one of my favorite sections of this are the 2 droids that I have. Now these droids have 4 arms and have a really unique design in my opinion, and their head can swivel. And I'll show you more in depth about those droids and all the characters later in the video. Another thing I'd like to discuss with you is the engineering behind the movement of this model. So I'm going to turn the model around, and you'll see this exposed section with the motor and battery box. So to turn on this conveyor belt, I pull this top section off, and you can see the power button of the battery box, and I will tap the power button with my finger, and as you can see, that turns on the motor, and the motor will go through some gear reduction, and then that will drive this main axle here. Now this main axle turns the gear which turns the conveyor belt, and there's also another gear which will make a 90-degree turn, and then I attach an axle connector that will allow me to change the angle of the axle, and that allows me to make the lightsaber turn on an angled wall. The final thing I'd like to discuss with you is the Greebling details along the sides of the mock and the floor. So on this side, I have just a bunch of pipes running along the side, and I've got this wedge piece, and I've got a red stripe going along this side. And then here is one of my favorite pieces. I'm using this wire piece, and I'm bending it around in like a curve to follow the curve of the mock. And then on the left side, you'll see I have some more piping, and I'm using a ladder on the side to get this grill shape. And then I have some fangs making up some more detail, and here I'm using some wedge pieces to just get a nice angle right there. And then here is one of my favorite pieces of Greebling detail, are these tires that I'm lined up along a stick, and they look really good as Greebling details. And then if you come up higher, you'll see I have this massive pipe going along the floor using these connectors that allow a little bit of flex, and that's how I'm able to get that curve. And then over here, I just have a little bit of Greebling right by the ping pong table. I also wanted to mention that in this mock, the floor is almost entirely snot, and this is so I can get these awesome Greebling details. Like here in the fighting arena, it's all snot, so I'm able to get this really nice line using those wedge pieces. I told you guys I wanted to talk about my figures, so here they are, all lined up. Now, the first character I'd like to talk about is my Big Fig Inquisitor. Now this Big Fig Inquisitor is used with a Big Fig mammoth body from Chima, but I'm using a saber-toothed tiger head. It's also in tan to give it a unique head. But then one of my favorite features about him is his basically robotic arm. Now this robotic arm is fully posable and has posable fingers as well. He also has a massive lightsaber that I'm using a spring-loaded shooter for. The next figure I'd like to talk about is this guy. Now this guy is using Sinestro's head and using a skeleton from Ninjago's armor piece. My third Inquisitor is this gorilla, who's also from Chima, and he's using a V-wing pilot body that's turned backwards. This is my fourth Inquisitor, and he's using a cool alien head with like a massive mouth, and he has a pearl gray body that looks pretty cool. My fifth Inquisitor is like Darth Jar Jar, but it's not Jar Jar. It's basically an Inquisitor that's a Gungan. The next one is almost like an assassin. He's using MOC's body and legs and a V-wing pilot, Imperial V-wing pilot head. Here is my Torgrutta Inquisitor, who's using Ahsoka as a Padawan's hairpiece and like a vampire girl's head. Here is another Inquisitor, which is using Agent Callus's helmet and like a pirate head, I think, and then just a super cool neck cape thing. Here is my favorite Inquisitor, who is using the snake from Ninjago's head mold, which looks amazing in my opinion, and he's using the Grand Inquisitor's body and Captain Phasma's shoulder cape. Here's another Inquisitor using the Grand Inquisitor's actual armor piece and Bellatrix Lestrange's head. Here is my first droid. Now these droids have 4 arms and posable heads, and arms can move and they sometimes detach. So they can move out and back in. My next Inquisitor has his First Order crew helmet along with Taskmaster's head. My next Inquisitor is a Lasat. He is using Zeb's head along with this cool Chima armor piece and a Death Trooper body. Now, my final Inquisitor, nicknamed Shorty, he just uses a Kylo Ren half cape along with the First Order crew body. And then here is another one of my droids. And that is all the characters of this mock. Now I will show you some really cool photos of this mock, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. 2.5 weeks to build, and some of my favorite parts are the movement of this MOC, specifically the bar moving, because that took me the longest to figure out, and these 2 droids I've created because I just think they have a lot of character and they just look like you'd find them in Star Wars. This is Droid Bricks, and I'd be very grateful if you'd smash that subscribe button, and I'll be back again with another MOC very soon.